PR Connections Radio presents.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Cozy Up and Pay Attention, the Parent Edition, Season 2. And if you are looking at my face, chances are it's 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And I have a pair of parents for you today who is going to share their sacrifice, love, and all that they did to produce the wonderful young adult voice that they have. And if you would do me a favor, kindly take a deep breath and let it out. I'll be right back.
Cozy Stone is a multi-talented comedian extraordinaire who has a real lust for life. She also combines humor and motivation, where she is known as a humorvational speaker. Her youthful ways and positive light make her a beacon for those of all ages. Cozy has lived a remarkable life that has paved the way for so many. She had the longest running open mic venue of 11 years at Tommy Rockers in Vegas, called Cozy's Comedy Corner, through which she introduced many up-and-coming comedians. Before going into comedy, she was one of the first female personal trainers and one of the top fitness trainers in the world. She has trained many greats such as Billie Jean King, Roberta Flack, Andrew Young, Ed Bradley, CCH Pounder, Al Pacino, and Earl Monroe. As a former competitive bodybuilder, she also owned a bodybuilding gym for women over 40 in Los Angeles for several years. She has worked in top positions for HBO, Playboy, and Tony Robbins. She also enjoys volunteer work, dedicating time to the New York Foundling Hospital and babies with AIDS. Cozy Stone has a message that shouldn't be missed.
I have to shut my door. Dana, if you would kindly bring me my pair of parents, please. Good afternoon, wonderful people.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
How are you both?
Doing good.
Well, good.
Well.
Before I get in your business, I always say to my audience that we all know that there's no such thing as a perfect parent. As you know, and all the other parents know, no two kids are like in the same home, and we know there are no two kids like anywhere. So all the books on the shelves may be helpful, but at the end of the day, when you bring these little rascals home, you have to figure out how they're going to work on your schedule with their personalities, and then you have to mold them from there. And I always like to say that this show has nothing to do with parent shaming. We only want to provide understanding and responsibility and encouragement to try to help have parents like you give your words of wisdom to parents who need it. They may not think they need it, but we know they need it. And I hope they know they need it. So the way we get the show started, we're going to take each of you individually, but I'll start with ladies first, Mr. Brad, and I'm sure you don't mind that. Oh, and here's something else I want to say. I am so excited that I not only have a pair of parents, I've got the 4 Ps. I've got a pair of pickleball parents. Yes, a pair of pickleball parents. So I guess that's 3 Ps. So, Harry.
Yes.
Where were your parents born and raised? Where did they meet? And how old were they when they had their first child together?
My parents they actually met when they were like in the 2nd, 3rd grade. They grew up in a small town together, so they've known each other their whole lives. They got married young, and first children were born at ages of 21 and 22.
Okay.
So they had their struggles. My dad is a Vietnam veteran, and he had some challenges after the war. So their marriage did not last, but to this day, they're still, after a period of time where they weren't, they're friends and their families, they grew up together. So it was just, it was good. And then
I want to know where.
Oh,
and where gives me an idea of geography. We all are different from different parts of the country, geography wise.
Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay,
So
both of them.
They a little town called Tolleson, which is just outside of Phoenix. Now you feel like you're driving to it. Before it used to feel like it took forever to get there, but the city has expanded. So that is where they went to elementary school, middle school, high school, so forth. Everybody knew my grandfather, knew them. So to this day, like the little town that was, I still have some family that lives there, but that is where they were at. My dad is still in the Phoenix area, or my mom actually lives here with us, actually.
Oh, good. And Brad, where were they born and raised? Where did they meet? And how old were they when they had their first child?
So my mom and dad, my mom is from Canada, so hence my hockey-loving background as well as pickleball. But yes, my mom is from Windsor, Ontario in Canada. My dad was from Louisville, Kentucky. My dad passed away 12 years ago, 13 years ago. Not really.
You're really bad, honey, like 25 years ago?
Well, okay, 25 years ago, yeah. But they met when my dad was working at the Hollywood Ranch Market in Los Angeles. And my mother worked for a insurance company. They started dating, got married. My brother is 4 years older than me. And so my dad was 23, I believe, when my brother was born. My mom was 19.
Okay.
She was younger. Yeah.
All right. So we've got early 20s, late teens, long time childhood. Who could say something with somebody you've known since fourth grade? I mean, come on. Enough already. Right. Moving forward, let's talk about the two of you. Carrie, I'll take you first because you can answer this question for both of us. Oh, no. So let me back up. Were you also, Carrie, were you born in Phoenix? Yes.
Yes, I was born in Phoenix, yes.
Where did you meet Brad?
In Vegas. We already lived in Vegas. We moved to Vegas when I started middle school. Funny enough, his family had moved to Vegas about the same time, but we didn't meet until after high school. A mutual friend introduced us.
And how long did you date before you got married?
A year and a half.
And Brad, and how old were you when you had your first child?
23.
Okay. See, so it's always parallel. Not always. Most of the time, it's parallel. Teenagers have teenagers. 20-year-olds have 20. I don't know how that works, but it just seems to work. 30-year-olds have 30-year-olds. So that's one of the reasons I asked the question. So individually, Carrie, when you first saw Brad, because you guys were blind date or someone connected you or introduced you to one another?
Right. Actually, a friend brought him over to meet me at our house. Funny enough, Brad was a field medic with the Navy, but with the Marine Corps. So he was Doc Scott. And I did a crazy slide-a-thon and got taken to the hospital as I placed 11th in the Wet and Wild slide-a-thon and was, kind of laid up and, swollen muscles and killed the nerve endings in my feet and all these wonderful things. And my friend was like, I'm going to bring Doc Scott over to say hi. And I was like, please don't. And sure enough, they showed up and wanted to bring him over to say hi. And I figured if you still wanted to call me at my worst, then maybe there was more to it.
All right. So here's my question for both of you. Each and every one of us, when we meet whomever it is we spend time with, there's an attraction. And there are three things I usually ask, and if they're not one of those, you'll tell me. So Brad comes in the house, you're laid up because you hurt yourself. Was it his, and Brad, I'm going to ask you the same question. Was it his brains, his beauty, or his brawn? What was it that not only were you attracted to as you started dating him, and obviously you did, you said, I could see myself married to him and I could see myself having kids. What were one of those qualities or those characteristics that first attracted you to Brad?
Probably initial attraction, I'd say his eyes always drew me in from the start. So there was initial that, but just to have complete conversation and over everything and nothing all at the same time, where it just feels effortlessly. And that's how it was in the beginning. We could be talking about what we did for the day, or the food, or just, what was going on in the world. And it was just very effortless. It wasn't like you had to come up with conversation, or if there was silent, it wasn't uncomfortable.
Wow. So Brad, brains, beauty, or brawn? Or was it her swollen knee that
Well, in honesty, it's really a good combination of all of those things. She had just done a slide-a-thon, so I know she was a very, very much a fighter and a struggler, and wanted to get through things. Beauty is always been a strong suit of Carrie's, and she has brains too. She's a very smart cookie, and I appreciate all of those things. She was very well-rounded. And like she said, our conversations, we could just sit and talk for hours with each other about nothing and everything all at the same time.
Well, again, the couples that I've had, I believe today is the 46th show. So I get to compare the couples and people have been on here. Well, when I ask that question as a rule, beauty, brains, or brawn, the ones that encompasses all three of those are couples that have withstood the test of time. Because as a rule, and we know this, beauty, first of all, fades. Brain doesn't. Brawn can fade. The body can change. But to have something in common on a intellectual level, as well as all of those things combined, is what, and I call that kismet, just fate. You were supposed to meet. So, okay, you met, you dated, you decided to get married. Obviously, you're going to build a family. And even with that, Carrie, when you were told, both of you, but Carrie's the one that carried it, Brad, in case you don't remember. When you were told that you were pregnant, was it fear or fantasy? Do you remember 20 some years ago how you felt?
I think it's to start. It's a little bit of fantasy. You're excited, we were trying to get pregnant, so it just overwhelming excitement that you're pregnant, and then you're like, then it's we left. My dad is actually a twin, so it's a matter of, what if we have twins, and what will we this? Will it be boy? Will it be girl? So all of that is in the beginning. We surprised everybody with little things. We actually gave my mom a magnet that said world's best grandma, and she thought she was talking about our dog at the time, because she used to dog sit for us, and we're like, no, we're pregnant. She was actually in the middle of planning her marriage. She was getting remarried, so we tell our oldest that you were at Nana and Pa's wedding as well, because I was several months pregnant at the wedding party. And so so we were really excited, but a couple of months in, I did have a scare, and it turned into a high-risk pregnancy. So from there, it was just fear a little bit or a lot, and just a matter of, okay, now it's the tactics of, we need a healthy baby, and I need a healthy pregnancy, and I need to go to term. And that just changed our focus throughout things. You enjoyed stuff, but that was always there.
And Brad, as a young man, did you grow up with the desire to be a family man, to be a husband and have children?
Yeah, I think so. I think my outlook on life ahead, I really didn't always know what I wanted to be, but I did know I wanted to be a family man. I think that was a big part of what I wanted to be able to accomplish as an adult growing up.
Well, and that makes the difference. I know, we'll always know people, men and women, who, as I call it, have oops babies. And, he never wanted to be a dad. Sometimes she never wanted to be a mom. And now this human being has been formed, and we in the world have to deal with sometimes those repercussions. So I had a person on here last week. He wanted to be the father. His dad wasn't. And 35 years later, married, and 4 daughters later, he accomplished his goal. So your parents lived here, and you came here with your parents, Carrie. Were your parents living in Vegas also, Brad?
Yeah, both of my parents lived here in Vegas.
So support-wise, and I'm looking over at my other screen about the juggling. That's why I put juggle on your bio. You had the support system of whom? Not just your parents, but who else helped you out?
We have siblings here.
Oh,
So I have a brother and a sister that live here.
okay.
Brad's brother lives here. His dad actually had passed away before the boys were born. So they never got to meet him, but he had his mom. So
Mhm.
the kids in town have each two uncles, two aunts, and my mom and, my bonus dad was their grandparent here. So we had that. We have a lot of support of friends and so forth. We do a lot, though, on our own. We don't
Mhm.
always call people. They were like, I actually get accused of, why don't you call me? Because I'm like, well, we set their schedules. We are the ones that signed them up for stuff. We're the one that needs to be responsible for that. And we enjoyed it. We enjoyed supporting them. We wanted them to know mom and dad were going to be there. And if we couldn't both be there, we divide and conquered. And one
Right.
was at
So we're
one and one was
talking,
at the
yeah,
other.
but at this point, Carrie, they're on teams. We're talking diapers, the twosies, the threesies, the foursies, even parents who are on the same page. Were you working while they were younger, while they were
Yes,
babies?
I worked night shift when the kids were little. So I
Okay.
was home with them all during the day, and Brad would be with them at night when I went to
Oh,
work.
okay. So you tag team very well. All right.
Yeah.
So let's get into your individual homes as you were both being raised. Of course, you live with your parents, you live with your parents. So you get together, you've got your family, you're raising your boys. What were some of give me one from each of you. What was something that was different and something that was the same that you either had to conquer or complemented one another? So let's go separately. Give me something, Carrie, that was you given or was given to you in your home that was different from the way Brad's parents behaved.
Oh, okay. That's it's kind of a tough one. We
Then give me
moved.
something. Then give me something that you both came into the party with the same thing, the same values, the same character, same morals. Something that you didn't have to think about because you had so
Well,
much in common anyway.
probably just, I mean, it's that whole you want to do better thing. Like I worked all through middle school, high school, and helped provide, and had to juggle both. I know Brad worked through school and joined the military after school to try to get college and stuff like that. So those were things that if we weren't there, there were struggles financially and stuff like that. And it's not that we're super great at ourselves, but we wanted to be able to provide where our kids had the stability to know that, hey, they could go off to college and that we're going to help them with that. And we want them to focus and finish. I didn't finish college because life got in the way. And
Mhm.
I wanted to try to make that better to have them help focus. So our oldest did graduate. Dalton's going into junior year. The oldest is in grad school. We still all have struggles,
Mhm.
but I just pushed to strive to try to have them reach their goals so that to make it just a little bit easier than what we had it.
Okay, Brad, as a father of two boys, what were one or two things that your father said to you to make you the wonderful, strong, supportive husband and father and friend that you are today, that you have passed down to your boys?
I think with my dad really wasn't a big, hugger. Let's all get a lot of love around each other. And I think I kind of am that way with both of my boys too. I want them to know that not only am I there in a physical presence, I'm there emotionally for them as well. And I think that was a big difference from me growing up. I looked up to my dad, but it wasn't I don't think he had a huge impact or influence on the man that I became today.
Right. Well, you're talking the emotional, and
yeah,
and I
yeah,
and
right.
and I think it's a generation thing because
Yeah.
I've had more men say that than not.
Mhm.
So that was good. So when Dalton met me and I squeezed the dickens out of his 2.4 self, he was ready for it. Like, oh no. All right. So
Yeah.
let's get to your questions. The first question is, and I'm going to cut it down to two since it's both of you. One of you each give me something that you consider before becoming a parent. One thing that you considered, Carrie, before you became a parent. Even before, listen, even before you got pregnant, because you knew you wanted to have babies.
Right. Even
What
before
was-
we got pregnant, I want to say something we considered and we talked about numerous times would be basically the roof over our head. You know, when we first get together in a 1 bedroom into a 2 bedroom, but I didn't want to constantly move, but I wanted to be able to have something. We did move a lot as a child. I've lived in Arizona, Texas, and then Nevada, and went to numerous schools. So when we set into our oldest was born, then we immediately started looking to, I need a house, but I need a house we can grow into.
Right.
My biggest thing was it was little things that you want this and you want that, but I'm like, I don't want to move. I'm like, unless you hit the lottery and you're buying me a mansion, we're going to grow old in this house. And we've now been in our house for coming on 23 years. So, you know, I'm like, I don't want to move. I want that. I want them to have a home that they go, this is where I grew up, and I still come home and open the door and do all this, you know.
Right. And Brad, what was something that you thought about before becoming a parent? And again, you can go back to before you met Carrie. You said you want to be a family man. I'm going to grow up. I want to have kids. And this is what I want in place before I plan my family.
Well, and I think Carrie kind of touched on a little bit there with the house thing is I just wanted something stable, provide a stable home for a growing family, however many kids it ended up being. When we did start dating and she had the family history of twins on her side of the family, of course, we've had discussions about that. Was that going to come into play in our life? And when we started to try to have kids. So in the back of my mind, it was always there, you know, it might be a one and done. I can get the whole family in one shot here. Or, you know, maybe we'll have it over a couple of years, which, you know, is what we ended up doing. And I think we're very happy with both of the boys that we ended up raising together.
I think you're very happy with them too. The next question, your next question that you chose, or Carrie chose, and I know, well, I don't know anything. Did you attend parent-teacher meetings? And then, of course, the question is, tell us why that was important.
Yes, we attended all the parent-teacher meetings.
And
I feel it's important because we both needed to go there and, you know, learn about what's going on with our child while they're in school, and to show our child that, you know, I'm always saying it lets people know it matters to us. You know, that teacher's going to know we care what's going on with our child at school, and we're both going to show up. We're not, you know, phoning it in. We're not this or that. We're going to show up.
We both volunteered at the school as well. So, you know, we tried to do as many activities with the boys as possible at the school. I chaperoned on trips that we went on for the school. And we got to know the teachers. And in fact, we're still close friends with one of Dalton's teachers that we stay in contact with, and really one of Brody's as well. So it's, you know, because we were so involved in what they were doing in their school life, the teachers tended to share information with us and get to know us a little bit better outside of school as well.
Sure. If the teachers know you care, they'll even care more, especially not to, in my day, I think all the teachers cared, all my teachers cared. And yes, my mom did, but in today, and you're much younger than I am, it is important. I don't know if you've seen some of these teachers. I was doing motivational speaking in the schools for a while. They're quite unique. And the first time I walked into a Clark County school, I am not kidding you. I couldn't shut my mouth when I looked at what they looked like.
Yeah.
I said to the principal, is that a teacher? And I'd see another one, is that a teacher? Now, someone could say, well, Cozy, it doesn't matter what they look like. Yeah, it does. Now, I'm entitled. It's my show. It does. But moving forward, your next question is, and you guys can figure out who takes this one or maybe both. Do your children have, I got to say this correctly, more of your qualities or your partners? So let me rephrase the question. Which one of your qualities does which kid have the most of? Does Dalton have more of your qualities, and does your other son have his?
My oldest is a mini me personality, true
Okay.
and true. He will be, it's strong minded. He'll speak his mind, but at the same time, he'll kind of be quiet and reserved, and he'll very much observe what's going on. But he is my mini me. Dalton is a true mixture of both of us, I feel.
Okay.
At the same time, I do believe in the stars and their things. Dalton's a Taurus, and he's very much that. But he does have that strong speak your mind stuff. I will say, as far as when things don't go his way, and maybe he loses his temper a little quicker than that's very much all his dad.
Oh, poor Brad.
No,
Oh,
she's right though. She's
oh,
right.
really?
It's that short temper thing. Dalton and I definitely have associated together, but I think our likes and dislikes are very similar as well.
Okay. So you see, I had I think it was my first parents, and they had twin girls, and definitively, one girl had the dad's personality, and the other one had the mom. Nothing in the middle.
Yeah.
So that's why I like none of many reasons I like to have the parents on here, and I like that question. Let's get to your next question, which is, what did you do to encourage success? And some of the examples are chores, social skills, educational expectations, or developing good relationships. Carrie, take one and tell me which one that you want.
We kind of did all of them, but socializing and chores, very much. Our thing was, and I actually got that from my pediatrician. They were like, have them do stuff. They're young. And so our thing was, is if we want to do things, you need to do things. I'm like, sure, I can stay home and clean the house and do all the laundry, but then I don't have time to go to baseball and to here and the play dates and all that stuff. But if you help mom and we all get it done together as a family, then we can all go do stuff as a family. So it was kind of like an intermix of, you had responsibilities, guidelines, chores, and then we could help socialize and then do the stuff that you want to do.
It's called teamwork,
Correct.
right? Where
That's
else
right.
can you develop teamwork better than in a home raising children?
Right.
Right. And as you said, and you gave them a motivation. You want to do this. Real quick, I had another buddy on here. He had a board and he would write all the chores out. So it was right there in the front of their faces. So he said on the weekends when they wanted to go to the beach, he's in California. He said in all of their life, one just graduated high school last weekend, the other one just graduated college. So there you have how far advanced he is. And it was only 2 times, he said, while raising them, that it came time to go to the beach. And he looked at him and said, chores aren't done. And that's all it took. And his daughter's oldest. And so she led the brother followed her. He said, I never, ever had to ask him again. There it is. You know what to do. And so good for you. Parents out there, stop picking up their clothes. Teach them how to use the laundry. The vacuum cleaner just plugs in and turns on. I had someone this weekend was babysitting his nephew and nieces and taught his 10-year-old how to use the washing machine. He's intelligent as heck. He can read the buttons. It is important. Now they're out of your house. They're in college. Even if they get a sloppy roommate, their side of the room will be neat, right?
Right.
When they come back home, they're not throwing their stuff and demanding that your job is to raise them and not to take care of them for the rest of their lives, right?
Right.
That's what responsible adults are. Good for you. Let's get to your last question, which is individually. Carrie, take it away. Tell me what makes you happy as a parent.
Watching my boys do what they do best, like watching them shine. When Dalton's taking pictures and doing his thing, I'm filled with pride and joy. When he's on the courts, I'm filled with pride and joy. Our other son is a musician and composes. And when he sends me a link to projects he's worked on, or when I get to go see his performance, I'm that mom that's still crying at their performances, saying hello, saying goodbye. Everyone goes, did you cry? Yes, I cried. I'm tearing up thinking about it. So yes, I cry because they make me proud, and that brings me joy.
And Brad, what
Absolutely.
makes you happy as a parent?
Seeing them succeed in doing what they want to do. It brings joy in my heart when they get to do the things that they want to do and they enjoy doing them. I hope for them that they get into careers and get into hobbies that fulfill their lives and make them happy in what they're doing each and every day. And when they're happy, we're happy.
And I would think having children and watching them, taking them from the womb to college, all of those years, all of what it entails, and then at the end of the day, which is what this show is about, producing. You didn't produce just a kid, you produced a responsible adult for society.
Yes.
Yep.
That has got to be one of the parenting. First of all, it's got to be the most stressful, challenging job in the world. But at the end of the day, to look at your children and say, "Oh my God, we did this.
Mm-hmm.
Look at them," and then one day they'll make you grandparents, and you'll get to spoil them and hopefully make them do their chores, Carrie.
That's right.
Because grandparents get real lax. However, that has got to be just something that you look back and say, I produced that. And even though, yes, they're both your children, Brad, as a man who has 2 sons, you produce mini-me's, little men, men. You produce, of course, Carrie, you both have. And so I always love to say, on behalf of Cozy Up and Pay Attention, on behalf of the world and society at large, we thank you. But before we finish thanking you, I have fun questions. And again, since Carrie did not send me her fun questions, and I know you guys, I decided to choose the fun question. So Carrie's fun question is, and you can figure out which animals, by the way. If you could ask your pet, you pick a pet, because Brad told me you have a bunch of them, 3 questions, what would they be? And if you're going to pick different animals, tell me what animal it is and what the question is.
So I'm going to ask my pet 3 questions.
But I know you have different pets.
Mhm.
So
Right.
the snake, the dogs, what else was it, Brad?
Well, we got 3 dogs in the house, 2 turtles, a gecko, and a snake.
All right. So you get 3 questions. You can ask the dogs, the gecko, the snake, or the whatever.
I guess if I was going to ask questions, it's questions I already asked my big dog Duke. Is just kind of what's he thinking when he's just barking randomly? What is he chasing when he is running around the house frantically and you see nothing? And
He's got the zoomies.
is he really comfortable when he is all twisted up, legs up, tongue hanging out, laying on his back out cold to sleep? Because he does not look comfortable, but he's hanging all out. So
Okay. And then Brad, I chose for you. I'm very interested in this answer to you. What personal trait has gotten you in the most trouble?
My short temper, for sure.
Ah.
Yeah. And I think Carrie will probably remember this too. Working on my old Volkswagen Bug, trying to get the radio working in there and getting upset, and I punched into the window, the front window, and broke out the front window in it because I got so upset at the car trying to get things to work. So yeah. So, and again, that was me as a younger age. I was before kids even, and I think I've got it much more under control now.
Okay. But you recognize you have to pull it in and keep it under control. You
Absolutely.
are the third dad that, what do I know? That I would never have expected those answers, and all 3 of you said the same thing. I'm not asking another man that question. I see this nice, gentle, kind guy, and underneath is this terrible, angry person. But
not terribly angry. I just have that short fuse when.
Hey, listen, let me finish. It just makes you human.
Yep.
Right.
I'm not on this show to think. I'm I'm not here to tell you who you are, but it's an honest question. Again, it's just there for fun. I want to thank you. Carrie, are you breathing? Are you okay?
I am. I'm breathing. I survived.
Was it easier than you thought it was going to be?
Yes, it was so much easier than I thought. And you're so wonderful, Cozy. I do appreciate you so.
Well, it just makes me laugh. And I wish I could tell you you're the only one that comes on here that I know. And I say to myself, what are they nervous about? But you know me, nothing makes me nervous, so I can't imagine what anybody else is nervous about. And you all do well. And as my producer told you at the end of the show, she will send you today or tomorrow on the email address that you gave us. She'll send you the links. Please share it, send it out to your friends, family. Of course, send it to Dalton. I want him to know that I love him, and I do want him to be a 5-point player, so I can come see him play. I have no interest in watching these players that I don't know play. None.
Right.
I want to watch it up. I don't care about those brothers and everybody else. I want to watch the people I know. Yeah, right. I started off at Sunset. They are my buddies. I've watched them grow. They compete. That's all I have. So I need Dalton. Dalton, if you're listening, I need you to become a 5-point player so I can sit in the audience and scream like a maniac and tell him to breathe, Dalton, breathe. So we are here, folks. Unless God knows something I don't, we'll be back here next Tuesday at 2:00 Pacific Standard Time. Cozy up and pay attention, the Parent Edition. If you're out there and you would like to be a guest, and I'd love to have you as a guest, if you've got responsible adult children, so we can tell the world your story and how proud you are of the job that you've done. I also end this show before we go anywhere, in case you two haven't even purchased these, get on Amazon and purchase Cozy Up, The Art of Paying Attention.
Yes.
These are my self-published books. They're one-liners. They've got beautiful art in it. You can read the same line 2 days in a row, and you won't think the same thing. These really make you think. I also say to myself, why am I not putting these online? Don't ask me. I don't. I do. I say every day, I say, why are you not plugging your book? I'm plugging my book. So birthday presents, if you know someone that's having a wedding or whatever, Amazon, Cozyisms, The Art of Paying Attention. And with that in mind, we have had another wonderful, successful show. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you. I'm glad you found time for me, because the reality is I was going to come out in the park and snatch you up, Carrie. So is she going to make me come to the park and get her? And you didn't. So thank you for not making me embarrass myself.
Okay.
All of you who are watching the show, will watch the show, have watched the show. I love to end the show every week by saying, not only do I enjoy giving back and providing intelligent parental guidance for those of you who are in need, and those of us, all of us can always learn something. And more importantly, I believe when you know better, you do better. Folks, I'll see you on the court real soon, Carrie.